Hi, everyone. My name is Estella Duque, and I'm a medical student working with the Wisconsin Voices of Recovery to bring you Saturday Night Chat. Saturday Night Chat is a monthly chat that creates a space for people to share their recovery journey and to show people in recovery and seeking recovery that they are not alone and recovery is possible. Today, we'll be hearing from Theodora Roberts, a fantastic lady that I've gotten to know over the last couple of weeks, um, just to hear her story and to really gather information and inspiration from what I think is an incredible story and an incredible road to recovery. So, Theodora, if you could introduce yourself.
Thank you, Estelle. My name is Theodora. I am the mom to two amazing, wonderful little boys. I'm also a recovering alcoholic and opiate addict, and I am an aspiring author. So I am currently working on my book, which will be released on my birthday of next year.
Which I'm so excited about. I've been plugging it to all my friends. But that's a good kind of segue into talking about your journey because you did talk about how you were an addict and you're in recovery and now you're on your way to writing a book, which is amazing. But just to give some background, would you like to give like a broad summary of your journey and what that's looked like for you and how did your addiction begin?
Of course. I grew up in poverty. I grew up on the Menominee Indian Reservation, the poorest tribe in the state of Wisconsin. Um, my house was always full of love, but there was a lot of struggle because we were in poverty. Addiction crept into my life through trauma and pain. It wasn't about being bad or weak, it was about surviving. And what started as a way to numb the pain and the trauma eventually took over my life.
Thank you for sharing that, Theodora. I know it can be a hard thing to talk about sometimes, but I really appreciate you kind of going through that with us. Um, I guess a follow-up question, what would you like people to know about how addiction and recovery aren't cookie cutter experiences and can affect people in many different ways?
Addiction looks different for everybody. Some people hit rock bottom quickly, while others function for years while silently struggling. Recovery is the exact same way as addiction is. It's not one size fits all. What works for one person might not work for another. Um, that's why, to me, compassion and open-mindedness is so vital when dealing with someone in recovery.
Very well said. I think compassion is a key word for all of us in life in general. Can you share what your experience was like when you first realized you needed help? So basically, what was your aha moment?
For me, it wasn't just one moment. It was a series of little moments where I saw how much my addiction was hurting my family and myself. The real turning point was when I realized I didn't want to lose myself to addiction. That broke me open and made me start fighting for my sobriety.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, so kind of going off of that, I wanted to talk about challenges that you faced along the way. So my question would be, what challenges did you face during your addiction, emotionally, physically, and socially?
Oh gosh, shame, stigma, poverty, feeling like no one saw me as a person and they only saw an addict. I lost trust in myself and the system, a system that was supposed to help me. The hardest part was feeling invisible and like my life didn't matter.
Yeah, that's a really hard feeling to kind of sit in. But I'm glad that you were able to look past that feeling and get to a place where you felt safe, and where you felt like you could recover from um, this this illness that you were dealing with. With that in mind, how did your addiction, recovery, and sobriety affect your family and close relationships?
Addiction hurt my family deeply, emotionally, financially, and in every way possible. But recovery also gave us healing. My kids have never seen me in active addiction, and I want to keep it that way. Being a mom now helps me hold myself accountable. I show up and I don't give up. Sobriety gave me a way to solidify that role as a protector and as their role model.
And I think from what I've gathered from meeting with you, I think you're a great role model. I think your kids are very lucky. Um, what's something you wish everyone understood about the reality of recovery that goes beyond what they see in the movies or in the news?
Oh, people think that recovery is just about not using drugs, and
Hmm.
that's not true at all. Recovery is about rebuilding your life from the bottom up, learning how to cope with the pain and the trauma, and how to heal relationships and learn how to believe in yourself again.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It takes time and it takes a lot of hard, consistent work. It doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of people think, oh, you've been handed a medication, you should be healed. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's very poignant for you to say because that's something that I and physicians that I've worked with have had to tell patients. The drug can only go so far. Most of it is what you want to make of it, how you want to deal with it, and how you choose to go about life. So, very well said. Next, I'd just like to talk about you finding your path forward and what that looks like for you. How did you find sobriety and what what does it look like for you? What does it mean to you?
Oh, I tried to quit cold turkey so many times, and I felt like a failure every single time when I couldn't. I thought to myself, I quit alcohol cold turkey, so why can't I quit opiates? A friend of mine actually told me about the Suboxone Methadone clinic in Appleton, and the next day I called them immediately and I got in that week. MAT for me, I'm on Suboxone, gave me complete stability. It gave me my life back. It doesn't mean I'm weak or still using. It means I'm alive, present, and able to rebuild. It means that I'm working on myself to be whole again.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, MAT is just the assisted treatment program that a lot of people looking for recovery are able to turn to when, nothing else has worked. Um, I guess in relation to that, how did you get connected with the Wisconsin Voices of Recovery?
I wanted to use my story to help others. Wisconsin Voices of Recovery gave me the platform to share and to show people that recovery isn't something you hide from, it's something you should be proud of. And it's something that should be celebrated and supported by others. I was actually contacted after someone from the team read a post of mine that went viral on my recovery journey. So I was really like shocked that I was like, oh, I didn't even know they existed. And then when I was contacted by them, I'm like, oh, definitely, I want to do this. Definitely something I want to do.
Great. And we're so glad that you decided to join us. Um, Going back a little, what led you to choose the medication assisted program?
Um, it was a last resort, I guess. I had tried everything else. And being an alcoholic, I knew that there was more to recovery than just the meetings and all of that. And I wanted to heal as a whole and completely. So I chose MAT.
Okay. That's really great to know. I think a lot of people choose MAT for different reasons, and I feel like it's really cool hearing about each person's guess journey to recovery and journey to medical assisted treatment program. Um, Moving on from there, I kind of wanted to talk about the stigma surrounding addiction recovery, sobriety, etc. And kind of trying. to break that stigma for everyone. So, I guess what are some everyday words or phrases people use about addiction that are more harmful than they realize?
Calling people junkies or addicts or failures dehumanizes them. Even saying things like clean versus dirty when talking about sobriety. A better way is to say a person in recovery or a person with substance use disorder. Words shape how people see us and how we see ourselves. So people don't realize that words actually shape how we see ourselves in our recovery journey. So someone who is new in recovery and they hear clean versus dirty may not automatically think it's harmful, but as you get further along in your recovery journey, you realize that, oh, well, they were categorizing me by my use. I'm clean when I or I'm dirty is not the way to go about it.
Yeah. Very well said. It sounds dehumanizing when you put it in that way, right? Like no one should be um, categorized as clean or dirty for any reason. Um,
Correct.
so very well said. Um, Another question I had was, what languages, attitudes, or actions make you feel safe, seen, and respected?
When people talk to me like I'm human and when they listen instead of judge, um, when they use kindness over assumptions, that's all anybody wants. I mean, everybody wants to be treated like they're a human no matter what. And don't ever jump to conclusions. That is a huge part of respect for me. When you automatically jump to a conclusion, that makes me feel like you're not even giving me the time or place, and that bothers me a lot.
Yeah. And I'm sure it bothers a lot of people in
In any
any,
situation.
any situation. So I think that's a great thing to make awareness of. What's one misconception about people in recovery you want to see disappear completely?
That people in addiction don't care about who they hurt. I hurt my family the most in my addiction. I lied to my parents. I stole from them. I broke every single ounce of trust that I had with them. But I was also extremely blessed to have a very supportive family, and they were extremely understanding. So when I asked for forgiveness, I genuinely got it from them. I know a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to have that kind of relationship with the people that they hurt, but I think the best starting point is to always own up to your actions and to ask for that forgiveness because you never know. If you don't own up to your actions and then you ask for the forgiveness, you're likely not to get it. But if you do own up to what you've done, you're most likely going to get that forgiveness.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about, being a whole person, having people see you as a whole person, and humanizing what you're going through. I just wanted to talk about the mental health aspect of recovery um, and substance use. So, in the framework of the recovery community, is there an awareness that folks will have underlying mental issues or mental health illnesses in your perspective?
Oh, definitely. I want to say 95% of people in addiction battle some type of depression, trauma, or anxiety. Addiction isn't the root, it's the symptom. Until we address mental health, recovery will always be harder than it needs to be. And a system that is already broken and it's possibly the biggest barrier to what we have to recover. Addressing the underlying cause is most key to recovery. Yes, I know there are instances in any underlying reason and any disease that the symptoms don't lead to the disease and that the disease is there without the symptoms. But when you treat the root cause of the disease, the symptoms are easier to manage.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's the same thing with any other um, illness that people come in for on a regular basis. Um, Someone could have terrible leg pain and it ends up being because of high blood sugar.
Hmm.
And you have to get down to that root of the issue to be able to um, have them be in full recovery. Um, so off of that, how can people better understand the connection between trauma, mental health, and addiction?
Um, Believe us,
Yeah.
support us, encourage us without shaming us. Ask how we are really doing. Genuinely ask how we are doing. Sometimes just showing up consistently, being there for us on a regular basis makes all the difference. And don't try to explain away your misconceptions about our disease. Ask us. 99% of the time, we are genuinely open and honest about what we are going through, and we want to share it so that you better understand it.
Well said. Um, so in terms of that, there are certain ways that we can all show up better, right? Physicians, medical students, passerbys who are just trying to lend a helping hand. What can a friend, coworker, a family member do right now to show genuine support to someone in recovery?
Be there. Just be there.
Yeah.
Um, I know it can be hard when you see a family member who has cancer and you can't do anything about it and you don't know what to do. But what you do is you show them support and you show up at their chemo appointments. Same goes for someone who is in recovery with MAT. Show them support. Go to a meeting with them. Be there when they need you. Answer the phone when they call. Those are the kinds of things that are important.
Yeah. I think that's so fair. I can't imagine going through anything without a support system.
Yep.
So going through something as hard as addiction recovery, substance use recovery, it sounds like an awful situation. So um, I think it's a really great point that just showing up for the people who need you is kind of what's needed and what we can all do to make the situation a little better, a little easier.
Yep.
Um, what could someone do in their very first interaction with the person in active addiction to help build trust? I think this is a question that a lot of people kind of struggle with, especially when you want to help but don't really know how um, to help or how to get the other person to trust you.
Don't start with judgment. Don't have preconceived notions. Start with humility and be be there. A smile, respect, a listening ear can go further than a lecture will ever go. My dad would always say, you can assume two things. You make an ass out of you and me. And I hold that to be true in any case, in any interaction with people. Don't ever make assumptions. They're pointless and they don't hold any place in any person's recovery journey.
Very true. Very true. Um, And then kind of like a follow-up question, to kind of tie it all in, if you could change one policy, practice, or societal mindset about addiction treatment or recovery, what would it be and why?
I would change how society sees MAT. Too many people think it's trading one drug for another, and it's not. It's a medication prescribed by a doctor that is used to treat a disease just like insulin treats diabetes or nitroglycerin treats heart problems. For people like me, it is life saving. Granted, there are people who abuse the system, and with anything, there's always someone trying to get away with it. But MAT is truly a lifesaver if utilized properly and followed in the proper way.
Well said. Um, I guess tying up our interview, I just want to say I'm really grateful that you have taken the time to sit and talk with me and everyone else who will watch this video about your journey to recovery. I think it takes a lot to think through questions and come up with answers that you feel can be impactful to whoever listens. So I really appreciate it. Um, I guess a final takeaway. If you could give one piece of advice to anyone, medical professional, friend, employer, or just some stranger walking down the street, about supporting people in recovery, what would it be?
See the person, not the problem.
Yeah.
Recovery is possible, but it's a lot easier when the world around us chooses compassion over judgment. If you remember one thing from a story, let it be this: hope is real and people do recover.
Beautiful. Very well said. Um, so I wanted to leave space for you to talk more about your book, if you're willing. I'd love to hear more about um, what pushed you to write a book, any sneak peeks you have of the book, anything you can let any of your fans know, um, just
Yes.
so that we are following and getting ready.
The title of my book is called Surviving and Overcoming. There's kind of a neat backstory to that. My dad used to have this bright blue shirt that had "So" written on it in bright red lettering. And he would always, every time I would complain about something, he'd say "So." And when I got older, I said, "Dad, why do you say so much?" He goes, "Because I've survived and I've overcome so much in my life." And for me, that holds true because I've survived, I myself have survived childhood sexual abuse, domestic abuse, alcoholism, and addiction, and I have overcame every single obstacle that has been thrown into my path. And so it really, that shirt really holds a lot of meaning to me. I still have the shirt. So my my dad was my hero my whole life growing up, and I kind of want to share a little excerpt from my book. It's in like the opening part.
My God, we
Um,
would love that.
so I was 5 years old when I walked into a conversation between my parents. My dad was upset and he told my mom, "Dolores, we can't operate a business on a shoestring." My mom replied, "I know, Keith, I know." They didn't see me walk in. As tears welled up in my mom's eyes, I said, "Mama, yes, you can." My dad looked at me and asked, "How is that, baby girl?" I said, "You tie it up and you keep walking." So that is something that I have lived by, is that no matter what obstacle is thrown your way, you can always tie your shoes up and keep walking, and you don't have to worry about tripping over that obstacle.
Wow.
So, um, I want to thank the amazing people at Wisconsin Voices of Recovery, and of course, you, Estelle, for this awesome opportunity to share a piece of my journey. And I am so grateful for this, and I truly appreciate it.
Course, Theodora, I've loved getting to know you and getting to hear your story, and I'm so excited about this book. Um, and thank you so much for sharing an excerpt. I am really glad we got to share that on here. Um, but I just can't say better things. I think you're an amazing woman, and I think you've gone through a lot and ended up on the other side and are so much better for it.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that.
Of course.